Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Leasing Highway. Leasing Highway is a podcast dedicated to the heartbeat of the apartment industry. And this season, we're lucky to be presented by the Apartment Association of Metro Denver. Super excited to be here. And I'm Ian.
And I'm Karen. And today we're joined by our very, very special guest, Amy Lassers, who is a regional VP with Embry Partners. And Amy, oh my gosh, I've known you for years and couldn't be more excited to share your voice and your story today. So let's just start out by how in the world did you get into this industry?
Sure. I feel like probably a lot of us kind of stumble into it. I've been in the industry for 28 years, which makes me feel old every single time I say that. I started in 1994. I think that math kind of works out. But I thought growing up that I was going to be a teacher. Thought I was going to be a Spanish teacher. That's what I was going to do. Loved the Spanish language, and I started going to college. I'm from Ohio. I went to college at Bowling Green State University, and got there, started my teaching courses, and realized, oh shoot, I'm not really enjoying this teaching kids part of things. So I'm not sure this is going to work out for me. Really felt like a fish out of water. Didn't know what I was going to do at that point. And so I just started reflecting. Well, the rest of my family is in some type of construction. My grandpa owned his own construction company. He built houses. My dad worked for him. Felt right to be in the real estate industry in Ohio. So I started taking real estate courses. And then I decided to move to California when I was 21. And that's just, it's way too big of an area for me, kind of fish out of water. So I stumbled into the leasing industry, and that just felt like a really good fit for me. Although I never thought that I would be in it for 28 years, certainly never wanted to be a manager, never wanted to be a regional manager. I never thought, that here I am, a regional vice president. So feel like, at a certain point, you kind of master each position and get a real comfort underneath you. And then you're like, all right, well, I'm ready for more. What else can I do? And how can I make a different impact for different people? And I think kind of reflecting back and looking at each position that I've been in, there really is a different skill set and a different passion for each individual, title or position within our industry. So it's really something for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, with you having so much success and being in this industry and having such an impact on it, there's no question that you've probably had some great role models and mentors along the way that have guided you, and curious on who those are and the impact they've had.
Sure. I think sometimes there are the role models of what not to do. So we'll skip over those. But I think collectively, when I think about my mentors and coaches, they're really, empowering, really good communication, being available when I needed them. And, I don't reach out a lot. I take on a lot of autonomy and I like that type of environment. But, when you need your supervisor, you need them to be available to you. So I try to keep on that same characteristic. People who really value the learning opportunities of things, mistakes can be seen as learning opportunities. So that I try to embody that too. People who just made me think. So just a couple names to give credit. Suzanne Crane, this is really a blast from the past. Anybody from California knows who Suzanne is. She was a really smart lady, very direct. I used to stand in her doorway and just listen to the things that she would say, just to see that's what I need to be doing. Cindy Ash, who was my president here at Embry, she just retired at the end of last year, but she really, she pushed me on a different level. A lot of very empowering lady, and she pushed me to finish my degree. Which I did last year, 2020, class of 2020. Whoop, whoop.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Brian Moreland, he would frustrate me every week. We had a call on Tuesday afternoons, and he would have this list of questions of, what happened from the prior week. And every week I did not know the answer. And it just really made me really mad at myself for not knowing the answer. And so it just pushed me to get better. And then Judy Blaze here in Colorado, the thing that sticks out with Judy is the word intentional. And I think that that's really important. And I think about that often, like, the things that I'm doing, are they intentional? And it's powerful when you think about it that way.
Those are amazing examples. And I think what you said when you started out, there's also people that we learn from about what not to do. And then too, when you said that, you'd go and stand by a door and listen to what somebody's saying. And for everybody out there, I don't think a lot of people realize the impact and the influence they're having on people's personal lives and professional careers and what is being picked up. And also for you to see those opportunities and seize the mentorship and coaching from those folks you pointed out, and I'm sure a wealth of others. That's what brings you to where you are today. Mm-hmm. You mentioned helping you through situations you've learned. First of all, I can't imagine, what you felt like when you were at Bowling Green and all of a sudden like, jolt, I'm not going to be a teacher now.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with that? And just the growth that you experienced trying to navigate and then move to California as a 21-year-old and then making it through the ranks, if you will, or different roles within this huge industry. What are some of the situations where you've learned the most from?
Sure. I would say that, every situation, that the biggest learning opportunity is something that I failed at. And I really do believe that, mistakes are learning opportunities, and, most mistakes can be forgiven, most, so not everyone. So it's, I love quotes. So my degree is in organizational leadership. So I love all the leadership quotes. I'm a nerdy leadership person. But I think of, Thomas Edison. He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." And it's never too late to be who you want to be. So, if you're not getting what you want, you're not, where you want to be, or you're not going where you think you should be, then you need to change what you're doing. And it's okay to stop and just restart over again. Yeah. And I also feel as leaders, like, we never really arrive either. We're just really kind of ready for more. So we just kind of continually keep learning and keep pushing forward.
I think to that point, they said baby boomers were the largest group of entrepreneurs in the country, I think last year, or maybe the year before. But to your point of just, it's never too late to just restart or pivot or, any of that. And Ian and I always talk about, I'll say Ian really stresses this, is that learning from mistakes and just those biggest, mistakes are, a lot of people say failures, like Edison. Instead of saying that, it's not a failure, it is just another way. I think that's powerful, Amy.
Yeah, failing doesn't mean you're a failure.
Right.
Absolutely. I find that there's always, whether, as long as you try hard and fail, there's generally strategic byproducts that you'll get that something else out of it that will inspire your greatest success. And so learning to embrace that failure and embrace the risk to put yourself out there, even no matter if you're later in your career or earlier in your career, take some of those risks, because I think when, for me, when I look around at mentors and things, for me, there are very few who haven't messed up and haven't used that as the catalyst to get where they are. And so I think that's just such amazing advice. And on that note, really, you have for a while now had to be inspiring these on-site teams and figuring out that balance of leadership and how to actually make them succeed. And curious for what you see as the reasons for success for your on-site teams and what advice for them.
Sure. I think right now, I think it's a lot of empathy for our teams. Our teams are working so hard. I think there's shifts kind of going on in customer service and in general, not just in our industry, but in so many customer-facing industries. But our teams are really facing some challenging situations, and the customers are expecting something different from us. I think customers can also be kind of abrasive to our teams, and that hurts my heart. I hear things like, "You're a joke," or "I hope you get fired," or "I hope you get COVID and die." And I mean, those are the things that our teams are hearing, and that's terrible. Yeah. Our maintenance teams, they're out there, they're working out there tirelessly every day. They're hardworking, they're resilient, and just when I think our teams can't take on more, they do, and they do it with. They do it with a smile. They do it happily most of the time. So sometimes there's a voluntolding, but I think what we do is we do a good job of connecting our teams. And when I came aboard at Embry, that was really one of the things that I wanted to do was connect our people. And so, whether that was via personal in-person meetings or even just conference calls or Zoom chats. Even before COVID, we were doing those things. So I think, when you have that community that you can rely on and lean into, you can share your experiences. I think that's really very helpful at every level. And I think that the culture of a company is extremely important too. The things that I do sets that tone and that expectation for my team of how I want them to handle things. So, I see them building the bonds in their teams and doing those same things. I think there's also when we're bringing on new team members, we're looking for those qualities in new team members, so that culture just again continues to grow. So I'm reminded of a book that I am listening to right now called "I Love It Here" by Clint Pulver, and he talks about the ABCs. So it's attitude, behavior, and character. So I think, when you really focus on those, we can train the other things, but we focus on the character of the people that we're hiring. Those things will continue to, emanate throughout our company. And when we come across those people that are a little more abrasive, we can brush it off and say, wow, they're having a really bad day. I'm having a really good day. That doesn't have to rub off on me. How can I help them? Because I just really want to help them have a better day.
Wow, Amy, you shared so much in that answer. I feel like we could have an entire session on that and how much you care for the teams and what they do experience. I'll have to touch on a couple of it when we come back. Let's take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back and hear more from Amy.
Welcome to your beautiful new apartment home here at Gables Point 14. As you can see, we're featuring this beautiful one-bedroom den.
Welcome back. Amy, going into break, just the connectedness you shared about knowing what your teams are going through is just so powerful, and it's a good reminder what our teams do here from prospects or residents, and just what they do go through. So your support and your coaching of those intangibles is really, really amazing. Along that same token, you mentioned our industry is, of course, gone through changes, and y'all were doing Zoom even before COVID. What are some of the things, though, if any, that you feel like our industry needs to get back to doing?
Sure. I think that I think along that line is just, I think recognizing that some days are going to be hard and some days are going to be harder and they're all going to be worth it. As I'm looking at resumes, I see a lot of job hopping, 3 months here, 6 months there, even, 12 months. And that gives me the pathway of what they're going to be like if they work for our company. So what it makes me think of is the grass is greener where you water it. I mentioned earlier that I got my degrees, organizational leadership. And so I learned just a lot of things. And it was already my passion, but to put it, in words was really cool to see. So there's a thing called followership. And so you should be a good follower. So if I'm an employee, and I am a good follower, what that means is that if I'm unhappy about something or I have some constructive criticism, I need to bring that forward to someone who's in a position to help me out with that. So that would be my supervisor. I give my supervisor the feedback of what I need. If I'm telling them what I need, I'm probably going to get it. Being a good resource and a trusted advisor to your supervisor. So my supervisor recently started 10 months ago. And so I recognize she doesn't know everything from our company. I've been here for 6 years. So how can I help her in her position, which also then helps me in my position because I am then becoming, a resource for her. So again, when you're asking for what you want, you're probably going to get it. If you're not happy with something, speak up about it. It's okay. People, as a leader, I want to know from my people, what I can do to make their jobs easier. That's my job to support them. And if they're unhappy about something or they think something can be done that's better, chances are somebody else thinks the same thing or would benefit from the same thing. And then on the flip side, as a leader, the grass is greener where I water it. So I have to water my garden. I have to create that supportive, encouraging environment. Leaders are influencers. If you don't have a message that's worth following, you don't have any followers. Therefore, you are not a leader. So it's you have to take on that leadership role. You're not going to find it on your business card. It's not a title. So it's not a title that someone's going to give to you. It's a title. It's a position that you're going to take. And that leadership position is often taken without any type of compensation and any guarantee of advancement. Really no promise of anything. It's just you have followers because you're worthy of being followed.
Yeah, I think really, just having that mentality that you've really echoed throughout this whole thing of positivity and just taking control of your own environment to make it positive and a good place to work, and really taking that ownership of it is just an amazing outlook on it, and something that's so easily forgotten. In this too, I'm curious. One of my favorite questions too is just hearing your perspective on your friends and family and how they would describe you, and with everything.
So I asked my 13-year-old this, who texted me right before this podcast, by the way, and said, "Good luck. I'm so proud of you." Awesome. But she said creative and ambitious are the way that she would describe me. But I've also been told that I ask a lot of questions. So, and I do. I ask a ton of questions, and that can be frustrating for some people who are not used to it. But I'm building this. I'm very visual, so I'm always building a scenario in my head to figure out what does that look like and how can I help you. But sometimes that can feel like I am micromanaging, or that I am not trusting whoever it is that I'm speaking with, and that could not be further from the case. I'm actually trying to get to a point where I can trust you, and I am empowering you, and just how can I help you? I've heard other coworkers say, "Oh, Lassers never gets mad at anybody."
Well, that's nice. That's nice. You cover it well then. If you're probably seeing it as a learning opportunity anyway.
Yeah, right. How can I say this without being, coming across the wrong way?
Right. Exactly. I always feel like you can still be kind and firm. There, the two can go hand in hand. Hey, so another one that we don't get to ask everybody, but it's probably one of my favorite ones, is just what is something or several things that fewer people would know about you? The Amy behind the Amy.
Let's see. If I think so, in my personal life, I love personal training and nutrition. So I actually did get a personal training certification back. I mean, it's been a while. It was like 10 years ago.
That's awesome.
I love all the nutrition and health and working out and such. So COVID has not been kind. I've not been doing all the things that I know I should be doing. So maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's for all of us.
Yeah, exactly. Really want to next get your viewpoints on, anything in the industry that you've heard floating around that you differ on. And so really, want to hear your opinions on that. Let's do a quick break here, and then we'll get back to your answer here on the other side.
Meet Drew. She's a photographer living in Chicago and is currently looking for a new apartment. She's found a few places she likes, but isn't sure which one is the best fit. That's when Drew discovered RentGrata. RentGrata allowed Drew to talk to Ashley, a resident of the building she was considering. After talking to Ashley, Drew knew it was the right place for her, so she decided to move in. Today, Drew found a new home and Ashley made some referral money. But with RentGrata, it doesn't stop there. When this conversation data is combined with AI machine learning intelligence, RentGrata can provide new insights that allow property managers to get a better sense of what renters want. And that means a better renter experience for all. Welcome your residents, reach them with RentGrata.
Welcome back, everyone. So the question I just threw at Amy right before we left here are there any industry viewpoints that you've heard floating around recently that you differ on?
Sure. So, I think in the business world, it's really easy to focus on the bottom line or the client, like to set that's where our success lies, especially in the third party world. But I think focusing on our teams and their well-being is the we'll get more bang for our buck there. So things like making sure that they're okay, making sure that they have all the tools and the support that they need. Do they know where to find the resources that they need, and empowering them to do their jobs, kind of getting out of their way. And so I love all the nerdy leadership quotes. So here's another one for you. Richard Branson, he said, clients do not come first, employees come first. If you take care of your employees, they will take care of the clients. And I believe that. I think there's more than one way to skin a cat. Brian Moreland, actually, so he would, as much as I learned so much from him and enjoyed working with him, it seemed like sometimes it was always had to be done his way. And I thought, gosh, I can do it in such a different way. If you just let me do it my way, I'll get to the same place. And maybe in the same time, maybe faster, but at least I'll do it my way, and I'll feel more rewarded out of that, more satisfied out of that. So that's what I think is we need to get out of our employees' way.
I love that theme and the focus on team, and I don't ever think we can do enough of it, and we can always get better at really fueling their souls to perform and feel good about where they are. I think you make such a great point. And by the way, I love all your nerdy leadership quotes. So I feel like we want to go back and listen to it and extrapolate all of the ones that you've shared today. Also a theme for you today, Amy, has been the on-site teams and people. So, I mean, to have that level of empathy it's been a while since you've been on the leasing floor. How do you stay connected to the leasing floor and the pulse of what's going on and really being able to be there for your teams?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, I think physically being there is part of it, right? Like being on site routinely and frequently. And we have daily reports that each of our leasing teams submit, so we can see what the prospects are saying, and that helps us make decisions of, how can I get you more leases? Well, because that report is telling me what I can do to get you more leases. And then staying connected with social media too. I'm connected with all of my properties. I mean, heck, I'm connected with a lot of the competitors' properties as well, just to see what's going on, what everybody's doing, how social media is changing. And yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm curious. I mean, we've heard so much good advice, and you've been in the industry and been in so many different roles. I'm curious just on, what are your biggest passion points for the industry and customer experience overall, and what are those that light up for you?
Sure. So I think I mentioned earlier, I think we're kind of going through, we're shifting a little bit. It's kind of a cultural shift. The expectations of our customers are changing. The expectations of our teams are changing as well. I think for both of them, our teams and our customers, they want to know that they're part of something bigger. They want to know what we care about. It used to be, okay, well, here are the rules. You follow the rules, and we're providing this place for you to be, to work, or to live. But I mean, they want something bigger. So I find myself thinking about that. How can I shift and change and provide that still within the within the employee rules and regulations or the community policies, but how can we give those things and change for them?
Do you share philanthropic drives and whatnot with your customers for that customer experience? I mean, that kind of feels like that's in line with being part of something bigger, right?
Yeah, so there was a customer at one of our properties here in Denver, and she was asking, hey, what is your standpoint on this? And it was a formal letter. It was a letter written to the owner of our company, and it was a wake up call for me, I think. So I had to go through and tell her, well, we do this, volunteer, we do this, philanthropic, like listing all the things. And her response was, oh, wow, I'm so impressed. I didn't know that. And so, when I'm talking with our teams now is we need to be better about patting ourselves on the shoulder and don't be humble about those things. When you're doing, volunteer activities, whether it's individually or as a team, like we need to put those things out there so that our customers know what we care about.
Yeah, I think overall as an industry, just continuing to do that better. And, the Apartment Association of Metro Denver that we're all a part of here on this call does a great job with giving back and the apartment giving back to the community and sharing, because we didn't have that centralized platform to share what all of us are doing. So I think that it's so important to share. So we are at the end. Again, it always goes faster than we think, and there's always questions left over. But the one question we don't let get skipped is our walk-off home run question, and that is, what advice would you give to someone just starting out in the industry, whether they're in their 20s or they're maybe a baby boomer starting out in the apartment industry?
Yep. So my parting advice is hang in there, baby. Hang in there, baby. Some days are going to suck. And so here's another quote. We don't grow when things are easy. We grow when we face challenges. And so it's just, I walk alongside my team and find that person that will walk alongside with you to go through the hard days, because it's worth it on the other side.
Amy, thank you so much. What you've shared today and just the warmth and care for the teams that you've shared, and your company is lucky to have you. Our industry is lucky to have you. And we're honored that you joined us today and just for all that you shared, including the quotes. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see everybody next Tuesday. We have Heather Sandoval with Graystar joining us next Tuesday. So tune in next week. And again, Amy, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Amy.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.